So ADP is an employment analysis firm. It's very
largest payroll provider in America. So their data is pretty robust.
And so people pay attention. Eventually, we'll get the May jobs number, but ADP always issues a kind of a preliminary analysis. Here's the CNBC headline: Private sector hiring rose by just 37,000 in May, the lowest in more than 2 years. That's according to ADP's analysis. You see it the same way?
Yeah, that's pretty dismal numbers.
Yeah.
So we are seeing layoffs mount. So Microsoft recently announced 6,000 highly paid folks getting laid off. These keep piling up. So just this week, we saw Atlanta Fed, which is kind of does a forecasting nowcast on GDP, and all the right-wing media outlets jumped on, 3.3% GDP. That's not where GDP is going to come in, but we are going to have a robust number for the second quarter, and that's just due to tariff shifting, right? Inventories, and that's why we had a really negative number in the first quarter. But the economy as a whole is not very, very healthy. Look, we talk about this all the time. I voted for the guy in office now, but we got some troubling times coming ahead, and people need to wake up to the reality and be prepared for what is about to come our way.
So the March and April jobs numbers were pretty good, pretty robust, right? But you think maybe May we might see
so interest
something
rates
different?
have not faded as most economists thought they would, and what Wall Street was predicting is lower interest rates. We know that we're financing all this debt, which is going to just keep piling on to the government spending and adding to our deficit. I mean, if interest rates stay where they are, we're looking at over a $3 trillion a year deficit now, Chip. So adding $3 trillion a year to the current. And by the way, this weekend we are going to cross $37 trillion in debt, and we're adding over $1 trillion every 90 days right now. So think about that. $1 trillion every 3 months in additional debt. And some people can't even comprehend that. So, Chip, 32 seconds ago, we were in the middle of last month. We were 32 seconds ago would have been before Jesus was put on the cross. All right. And that's how long it would take to pay off $1 trillion. If you pay me $1 a second, it would take you 32,800 years.
You just broke my brain with that one.
So it's unconscionable that our government can't get behind actually getting our spending back in line. And we know we're going to spend, right? But typically the government spends, and I know this in the story, about 17.5% of our GDP is what our government usually costs. And we can go back for the last 50 years and see that. Well, we're spending in the 22, 23% range right now. That's massive up spending, and it can't continue or you'll bankrupt the country. And that's why interest rates are higher, and that's what's going to slow down the economy, because now capital expenditures, businesses that want to expand. If I want to borrow money to open a new office location, to buy a building, whatever I want to borrow money for, any business owner is going to have to pay more for that loan, which means less money to the bottom line, which means less hiring, less jobs, less raises, and the economic trickle down will just spell doom and gloom in our economy.
Mr. Doge, Elon Musk, on his way out the door said, "What is this bill you're proposing on Capitol Hill?" And for all the successes in the first Trump presidency, fiscal reform was not one of them. And so it has some people concerned.
They campaigned on, we're going to get things back in order.
Yes.
And so now American public, left, right, in the middle, like I said, I'm an independent who voted for this president, but they are not bringing, they're not showing up. They're not doing what we think they said to do. And Congress is the problem. Now, Trump is a bit of a problem. He just wants to get the tax cuts through and claim another victory. I get it. Now, the other thing is this big, beautiful bill is a reconciliation bill. So it's not a provision bill where they actually cut things, but there's no mention of it, and they keep complaining they could have trimmed things. They actually add about $4.8 trillion in the next 10 years to our deficit. So they're not helping. And I think Americans of all political views are just fed up, and we're starting to see that on social media. So I would say take note. And that's the other thing. So everybody cheered just a few weeks in the House passed the bill. The Senate's saying no way, right? So we have at least 4 senators on the Republican side that would be needed to carry this bill over the top, are just not going to move forward. In particular, Rand Paul's an absolute no. Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin is a pretty strong no at this point. So I want them to hold the line. Let's make Congress go back to the drawing board and figure this stuff out. Hey, if you're looking for more content like this, make sure you check out these videos and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll be notified when we publish more content that will help you retire smart. Thanks for watching.